Well, hello again. I hope everybody's been staying safe and is doing well. Um, it's been over a month since my last update. I've really been putting this one off until I got some stuff done, and I got those two little projects done that I wanted to get done, and I've got some other things I'll show you too. So let's go on into the train room. Okay, first thing you'll notice is the elephant in the room. I did get the mountain mostly painted. It's not completely finished yet, but you can see how much different it looks now than it did last update. The mess is still here, but that happens when you're working. So anyway, the rest of the layout gets used as a bench. But let's go around here and we'll take a look at the mountain and some of the stuff I'm working on. None of this on this side is anywhere close to being finished yet. Right here is some magic water that I painted on with a brush. It gives a really nice wet rock look to the back side of where the waterfall will be. You know, because the waterfall's falling down, it's going to get the rock wet, and I really like the look of that. It probably doesn't show up nearly as well on camera as it does in person, but it looks pretty good. Anyway, scenicking the layout of the mountain. Most of it's just around the bend here, but as we go around I'll show you what I've been working on. Of course, I've got a few trees up here. This right here is fusion fiber that I've done a video or two on, and it works really well for that moss look and gives something for the ground cover to stick to other than just the rock, but it gives a real nice effect. But anyway, I got the trees put in, and you see the backdrop that we saw last time. I got a few aspen trees up. I need a lot more aspen trees. Got the stamp mill put in place. It's not detailed out yet, but it is where it's going to sit. I will have an abandoned minecart trestle coming back behind that, which should add some interest to this area. I also got fascia boards up on the upper deck here, so I could put my LED strip lighting back behind it. And I also got fascia board down here on the bottom. The thing I was waiting on most to get finished with, and I've shown some of this before, but it's never been completely together. So it's all but finished right now. I've got just a few pieces of wood I have to put down on the end that I picked up today, and I'll finish that this evening probably. But it is set up to where it can run a train now, and you can see one of my Blackstone engines sitting on it. This isn't after any particular prototype. It's just a general trestle bridge, pretty much freelanced. I do have the water coming down. Use some more magic water right here for a shallow wash, and it'll have a culvert right there you can see, and I'll have a little waterfall coming out of that, and it runs down here, runs through the footing right there and into the river, and then it would have also taken snow melt from the top. So that's the main thing I've been working on, was getting that done, but I also did all the painting. Used a lot of gray acrylic, blotted it on. Places I didn't want it as thick, I'd take paper towel and blot it off, and use some raw sienna to get the red, kind of matches Red Mountain on the backdrop. Okay, I wanted to kind of explain a little bit how I put this together. I built the bents on a jig that I made to go to the pattern that I was after. It's a 5-leg bent. Center one's vertical, and the other two sides come up the sides. The rest of it I just tied together by hand and how I thought it would look. I glued them into the footings with just white glue. Works really well. It disappears when it dries, and I like the look that it gave, so that's where I went. It was also easy to use. So I did that, waited the trestle down until it dried, and it came out really nice. So I'm very happy with that. I still have to add the detail on. some of the fire barrels and that sort of thing that they had on the wooden trestles. In case the engine sparked a fire on the trestle, they'd have water barrels along the edges. Some of the places I'll show you here, I've got single footings put up where the ground was a little more irregular. Most of them are the solid long footings, but as you see, it comes up the canyon. They get stacked up, and I don't know if you can see that one or not very well, but this one here, you know, half the bent is down on the bottom, half of it's up on the side of the hill. Here's one with one leg of the bent down past the edge of the hill, and then it gets back up into the shorter bents. It gives a nice effect. I really liked it, but it's been a fun project. I've got 2 more wooden trestles to build, or at least that's the plan, and then one micro-engineering steel trestle that I'm going to build for the standard gauge over on the other side of the layout. Those should prove to be a little more challenging to do because I'm going to have to build them in place. I can't build it ahead of time and then fit it in like I did this one. The next thing I was going to show you was how I did the aspen trees. The base for the trees are cheap Chinese trees I bought and got a whole bag of them for like $8. And they came with really dark foliage on them that didn't look very good. And so I decided to repurpose them, and I just peeled all of the foliage off of them. I'll show you how I did that in just a second. Okay, these are the trees in question. Hope you can see that. And they were packed individually in bags, which was nice, so they weren't tangled up all together. But as you can see when you pull it out, being a wire tree, the branches are just all clumped together. And I didn't really like this foliage anyway. I got these because they were really cheap. Now I have used some of this in other places. I could even use it on my my comfort trees, pines. But I just pull the old stuff off, and you can kind of see what the tree looks like when I get it off. I get most of it off. I don't worry about getting it completely, but I get it pretty close. And then I put the wire branches, you know, spread them back out a little bit. And that's the nice thing about wired trees is you can move the branches around where you want them and make pretty much any kind of tree out of it that you want. But anyway, that's what you end up with when you get all the foliage off, and all that's left on there is the glue and a little bit of the foliage stuck to it. They're painted brown, but for an aspen tree, it's got white bark. So I take a little white chalk paint, and I found some in a spray can, and I spray it white. And then when that dries, I come back and I take the 3M Super. You can see that. Yeah, 3M Super Glue, spray on glue, and I just spray the branches. Put a light dusting on there, or as much as I think needs to be on there. And then I picked up from Scenery Solutions, same place that I get the fusion fiber from. I picked up the Super Leaf, which is a fantastic product. I really, really like it. And as you can see, it's in an aspen gold. So it's a really, really bright gold, just like the aspen trees when they're at the height of color, which is what I was after, to give the layout some color all around. And so then I just sprinkle that on and let it stick to the glue, and it will stick to the glue pretty well. And I put on as much as I think the tree needs, and then I'll come back with a Sharpie. Once I have the white trunks and the leaves on it, I'll come back with a Sharpie and put a little bit of the black of the bark from an aspen tree in there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a couple little dabs here and there, because the trees are so small, it really picks up the effect of what an aspen tree looks like. For the pine trees, I'm using Woodland Scenics pine trees. There's this one's got 44 in it. They're two different sizes, 4-inch and 6-inch. They make some that are smaller. They also make some taller than this that you can get. They come with a little base. I just take those off. I don't need those. They're a plastic covered wire is what this is, if you've never done one of these. And I saw this originally and I thought, well, you can just bend your branches around where you want, but then you look at the back of the package and they tell you how to do it. You just grab your base one and start twisting as you go up. And pretty soon your branches are all spread out like you need them to be. And then I take the 3M glue, spray glue, just like I did with the aspen trees. I'll take that and I'll dust the trunk with that and the branches. And then I'm using a Woodland Scenics Comfort Green. Comes in a kind of a matte. This is my canister, not theirs. It comes in kind of a matte form. You can see how it is. But I just cut off little snippets and then just take that and pinch them onto the branches. Real easy to do. Just take them and pinch them onto the branches and it'll stick on there. And then I end up with a pine tree. It gives me the effect I want. They're not super detailed, but I pinch those on there, and then I'll take a little bit of the ground foam, and I'll take some of the fine turf, earth color fine turf, and then I'll take a pinch of that in my fingers and just sprinkle it on the any exposed areas of the trunk of the tree. It not only gives a secondary color, little contrasting color, but it also gives it a little texture, and it looks like bark. At least it does to me, and that's what counts. As you can see, I don't know if you can kind of see it there, but you can see a little bit of color contrast there on the tree. It's very subtle in real life, and the camera picks the color up a little bit better, but it's a nice effect. So anyway, that's what I've been doing the last month and a half. My work's picked up greatly the last 3 weeks, and so I haven't been up here that much the last 3 weeks. Plus I was waiting on trying to water out, and I got that in, and I really like that magic water. It's easy to use. It's a 2-part epoxy, but it's very easy to use. Got great instruction on it for keeping it where you want it, that sort of thing. Sealing it up. If you haven't sealed your bed in, they tell you to take a little bit with a paintbrush and paint your base first. Let that dry, and most likely it'll seal it off, and it did for me. Although I don't know if I had a leak or not, but it did seal it off really well. By the way, subs really don't mean that much to me on the channel, but I am nearing 200, and if we get to 200, I'll do a giveaway. I've got a brand new chop it for building structure and cutting balsa wood, that sort of thing. Styrene works really well, and I think you'll enjoy having one if you don't have one. But that'll be the prize that I'll give away, and I'll figure out how we're going to do that once I get to 200 subs. So I'm real close right now. Just need 3 more people on there, and we'll do the giveaway. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.